Here are the 5 steps I would follow if I had to relearn Python today. For context, I learned Python 4 years ago, and in that time, I've created many projects that I am proud of. But my biggest regret is it took me so long to get to here. And I think if I followed these 5 steps, it would have taken me half the time to get to where I currently am now. So enough wasting your time. Here is step 1. You need to learn the basics. This may seem obvious, but you need to know the tools that you were given with Python in order to make anything worth making. The first thing that you would need to learn is comments and variables. This should take you around 10 to 20 minutes to figure out. The next thing you would need to learn is the different data types. Python does not make you declare your data types when you define a variable, but you still need to understand each and every data type that you will use. Make sure you know when and where to use these different data types, as knowing how to use these data types is just as important as knowing what they do. Next, you need to learn the different conditional statements and loops. And lastly, the final thing you need to learn for the basics section would be the different types of built-in data structures. This contains tuples, arrays, dictionaries, and more. And now once you finally feel like you've mastered these things, you need to move on to step 2, which is to make something small. This will prove to you that you actually understand when and where to use all the things you learned in the previous step. For small projects, I would recommend creating a Wordle solver, 2048 in a terminal, or a flashcard program in a terminal. A tip I would have for this is to write out your logic on a paper or a notepad so you better understand exactly what you need to accomplish. Then just go for it. You will probably need to look things up either on Google or Stack Overflow, and I'm sure you will fail multiple times, but you need to just try and finish it. Now, my third step for learning Python is to learn object-oriented programming, or OOP for short. This step is a little harder than the previous ones, but it is important. You need to understand exactly how to make classes, how to initialize variables in those classes, and understand inheritance. Once you learn object-oriented programming, your code should become cleaner and easier to understand, which makes step 4 even easier. Step 4 is to make something cool. What I mean by this is to make a project that will ideally take you longer than a day, something like a week or even a month if you really have the time. Some ideas I have for this is to make a game using Pygame, or a website using Django, or even videos using Manem. With this, you will learn how to read documentation and understand installing packages in order to improve your code. Now for step 5, this one is a bit controversial, but do not use AI. AI will slow down your learning, and it will make you more dependent on the AI than someone that does not use it. I've personally tried to use AI to learn new things related to coding, but it has never really helped. It has ended up just making me not understand the topic fully or waste my time, and I end up having to go back and read resources like I should have done in the first place. Now those are the 5 tips I would use to learn Python if I had to restart. And just as a bonus tip, make sure you stick with it. Programming is hard, and I often get stuck for 20 minutes trying to debug a certain problem in my own code. The key is that if you really want to learn to code, you will figure it out eventually. You just have to have the motivation. Okay, so if you like this video, I would appreciate any feedback or you to subscribe or check out one of my other videos that I've made, like this cool project I've done.